Ryan, I want you to jump on here with me, so because you can vouch for the truth in this. I was telling you about this. So we had recorded all of our episodes for the week by Wednesday,
Right.
right? We had some travel situations to deal with and stuff like that, so we got everything recorded early. Thank you guys also for checking out the interview with Alex Stapleton, director of the Diddy Doc. Right, we appreciate y'all on that. So anyway, Sherrone Moore, was it Wednesday night? Wednesday.
It was Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday evening.
Yeah, Wednesday in the 4 o'clock hour. We know
Yeah.
we have timestamps. So it was Wednesday in the 4 o'clock hour that the word got out that he had been fired. And I immediately started hearing some wild stuff, right? People immediately, and when I say I'm hearing, I'm not saying it's like I'm some kind of journalist, but it was enough that it was like, oh wow, there's stuff going on here, right? So I was getting a call from all the networks all day long at CNN on Thursdays, like, yo, can you come on and talk about this Michigan coach? And I'm like, hey, man, I don't really got that much to talk about, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm hearing that a lot might come down the pipe. So I'm going to pass on this. And they're like, well, here's our reporting. I'm like, yeah, I don't think y'all, I'm going to just not talk about none of this.
Yeah.
It's 5 days since I said that. And I personally feel like now it's finally appropriate to talk about this. Like, I'm so glad that there was nothing that was offering me any pressure to talk about this before, because we needed stuff to happen. And the thing that I didn't expect to happen was that he was going to be arraigned in the white jumpsuit in a rubber room.
Right. I mean, he took his arraignment on Zoom.
On Zoom.
Like it was 2020.
It's over, right? Like, after this is done, we will never see his face again. Think about this. He doesn't turn 40 until February, okay? He got a dream job, and his entire career is over before he turned 40 years old, right? Now, Ryan, I feel this is a time where it's glad, I got you here with me and that we are of somewhat different cultural backgrounds, right? Because we can just acknowledge that for all parties involved here, the story is made more salacious by the fact that he risked it all behind some young white woman that worked in the office.
His assistant. Yeah.
Yes, this is still a hot button issue in America, right? Like, it don't get people killed necessarily, but it still hits people, right? It's and that is squarely where we are in this. I don't know how it's going for the white delegation, but I can tell you for much of the black delegation, the fact that this gentleman lost it all behind that particular white woman in that particular station in life is not going over well with the people. I do not know what he will have to do to get sympathy from the folks, but as of right now,
he's got a long way to go.
He's got a really, really, really long way to go to get the sympathy. I'm not going to tell that very good joke that I have in mind because I just don't need the misinterpretation and the aggregation. But yes, he has a long way to go to get back because he lost it all behind this, and that was before we started hearing that he's that guy. What guy? That guy, right? The guy that get caught slipping, living in a college town, sleeping with the woman that works in the office. Like, that's not a really uncommon story. It's a bad idea and it's wrong, but there are also a lot of romances that start with similar sorts of stories, right? Like, I don't think people are that terribly offended by the idea that he had a relationship with somebody in the office. But with the understanding that if you get caught, you got to deal with whatever comes.
It's an industry that leads itself to that situation.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. For a number of reasons, for what it's worth, right? However, when the people find out that apparently you be hitting them up on the OnlyFans and you were exchanging messages with the woman off the OnlyFans during the national championship game, per her telling, just throwing that out there. And clearly this man has a problem, right? He has a problem. And then he went and bust up in this woman's house, allegedly, with a knife, allegedly threatening to do harm to himself, allegedly. Meaning that there's a great chance that he's going to jail behind this. Like, not forever jail, but it seems totally in the cards that he could wind up going to jail for this. I've never seen I can't name anything like this. I have nothing comparable that comes to my mind in terms of what like every term seems corny, like fall from grace, whatever it is, like all of these things just seem absurd to bring up. However, if it makes them feel any better, you're not going to go down alone. Because if any of you have ever dreamed of being the athletic director at the University of Michigan, I think you'll have a chance to put in an application, right? And I believe that you'll have this chance to put in an application because apparently a man that they knew might not have been all the way straight, they fired him for cause, and only the athletic director was there with him. Now, I'm going to give Ward Manuel the benefit of the doubt here. What if he felt like he knew this person and that he was afraid that things could get worse if there was a lot of people around, and he thought that that was the best way to manage the situation? I'm going to just tell you like this. I done seen people walked out of the office after getting fired for under far less combustible circumstances than these. Okay. I've seen people make the argument that they should have had mental health professionals there when he got fired. I'm going to be honest with you. My imagination is not that good. I never would have thought about that. Right. Like I mean, it makes sense. I'm not saying I don't hear you. I'm saying that I personally never would have thought about that. But some big motherfucker to wrap him up. You know what I'm saying? If things get a little wild, somebody that can, because Sherrone Moore ain't small. He played offensive line. You know what I'm saying? They got to be somebody. Where the strength coach at? Ain't no way in the world I would have done that by myself. No, sir. Could not have been. Anyway, Ward Manuel chose to do that, and then that man ran out of there and ran up in that little white girl's house with a knife. You're not keeping your job after this. I just want to know this. Ryan, what was that? The Wall Street Journal, where you sent me that link with the article?
Yeah, the 24 hours.
Yeah, and I just want you here with me because I don't think I'm gonna get this wrong, but just to make sure I say to get this right, this is a very important detail. They had done it previous. They've done. This is not the only investigation, by the way, that they have done of Sherrone Moore, and his dealings with women in the office, on campus, or whatever it is, but they had done an investigation about his relationship with this particular woman, and they had been in a relationship from 2022 to 2024. Okay. And they didn't find any evidence. And the biggest reason they didn't have evidence is because she said no and he said no. And I don't know exactly like what powers they have. They can ask people to turn over phones. I'm sure the company issued phones they can or whatever, but I don't know exactly what they could do. But they said their investigation said that there was nothing to it. And then, out the blue this week, this woman calls up and decides to confess her sins. That's what the article in the Wall Street Journal said, right? Am I expected to believe that she just decided to do this out of nowhere? I'm not saying that it changes anything about the outcome, right? Or what there is to say about Moore. What I am saying is, I would like to know why that decision was made. Because what's that line, Ryan? Just because you paranoid don't mean they ain't out to get you. Because he is got.
Right.
He is as got has ever been. That just seems to be an incredible turn of events. Like, who knows what it is that happened? In the 911 call, the woman said that Moore had been stalking her, right? That is what she said in the call. Maybe that, if that's the case, right? Maybe that led to her calling and saying, hey, do this thing that'll fire that dude. I don't know. I don't understand this. But the fact that this just happened out of nowhere, something tells me we're going to find out a lot. Did you see they're going to do an investigation of the whole...
Yeah, everyone's getting... I think it's going to be more than just the AD.
I think it'll be more than just the AD, but how thorough an investigation do you really think that this is going to be?
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. They've been doing a lot of investigations in that building recently.
Yeah. So this is one thing though I think about with Michigan though, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. So I've seen this is a like deeply corrupt program sort of arguments, and I get that, but right, I feel like these things don't have that much to do with one another.
Right. No,
Like Connor Stallions. So one thing that was interesting with Connor Stallions, the reason that Moore got suspended behind that is that he deleted text messages before he turned his phone over, but then he came off of those text messages and there was nothing incriminating in
right.
them, right? They had that weird thing with the dude that was stealing signs. And I'm sorry, it was wrong, but it's so funny that I
Yes.
can't find myself like getting to that place. This right here, I don't know how exactly this ties in with like the idea of a corrupt program, right? Like this is weird things happen in offices. Like I don't.
Yes.
So I guess this is what I don't know. How many offices have a circumstance like this, and what is the likelihood under those circumstances that somebody tells or that something is actually done? Somebody in a boss-like capacity is having a relationship with a subordinate. I feel like it's more likely that people let that slide
Right.
than it is that people enforce it. That's not to say that they shouldn't.
But that's what. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't find that to be an example of a uniquely corrupt culture within your within the athletic department. You know what I mean? Like I'm not sure that that's the argument to make here, but that's what it's going to be, right? That's what they're going to have to overcome. And maybe Michigan is trying to do a truth and reconciliation before the public, and they're going to go through all their shit and they're going to tell everybody everything that was wrong. But I didn't think that they were stupid. Right? Call me cynical, but that doesn't seem like the smartest thing to like. These are not people of great honor. Okay.
Correct.
So I don't know what investigation is going to be. I don't know what they're actually going to do. You remember when the Dolphins had the bullying situation and they put together the Blue Ribbon Committee, and that committee still ain't never had no meeting?
Yeah.
Like not one. Like, but they can't just win the press conference here. Like that's not going to work. I do think that now that they've said it, they're going to have to come up with something. But consultants generally are people you pay to tell you to do what you already wanted to do. This, no matter who the investigation is, this is an example of the consulting business. That's what they are going to have. They're going to run through this, and they're going to come back and be like, you know what? It's actually not as bad as we thought. It's crazy, right? Like, yeah. You know, but we wanted to go back here and make sure everything was okay. Yeah. We're going to be fine. Yeah. Like, it's actually funny, Ryan. Like, as we talked about this more, I had in my head envisioned, because, you know, I don't do it like I did it when I was a youngster in this business, but, you know, I like a little dark humor.
Yep.
You know, and I feel like I have a fairly sophisticated understanding of the edge and where you can stand and talk on these things. And I will say that this case has tested at many points my question of, is this funny? Not so much the macro, the big, is this funny? Because that actually is not.
Right.
But there's little funnies along, or little potential funnies, I think, that I had seen along the way. And in my edgy brain, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get in here and maybe we gonna. Nah, it started feeling less and less funny. The more I thought about him sitting there in that rubber room.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, oh, this isn't this. No, this isn't. No, it's not. Like, this is. Can you imagine if this were a story about a coach that we were more familiar with?
No. Because this was A1 from Wednesday, like really until Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL.
Yeah, but imagine if this was, and I'm just throwing a name out, right? Imagine if this was Jimbo Fisher, right? Like, I'm not even talking about Nick Saban, right? I'm not even talking about like Dabo or like a super famous coach or Kirby Smart. Just somebody that, oh, I remember him, right?
Right.
Imagine it's Jimbo Fisher that did this. What? Like, we don't even know who this guy is, and he has America captivated.
Right.
Right? Like, Actually, who is the coach that you would be the most shocked?
Kirby's up there. Kirby's up there. Did you see the Nick Saban quote going around?
I did not. What was it?
Let me pull this up. I want to make sure I get this right. It's about, Nick Saban's.
Oh, from the book?
From the book.
Oh,
yes.
I do know that quote. If you could send the screen cap to me, I will read it word for word because this story has been denied. And so what?
Yeah, so what? It's funny.
Yeah, we like it better. And he's in the locker room with the dudes at LSU. And honestly, man, this is the kind of story that like this like maybe this is a man that you let raise your son, help your son become a man. Like he hitting them with some true game, right? And he was talking about dealing with women and these young boys in college. And I do remember that before this excerpt, there's something where he's using like the P word in his discussion of like talking about dealing with women. He's just, he hitting them with some true game. And he says here that ultimately you never want to sleep with anybody who has less to lose than you do. So ultimately, if I'm ever going to sleep around on Miss Terry, it's going to be with Hillary fucking Rodham Clinton.
Now that's funny.
That's hilarious. That's because somebody put together an AI video of Nick Saban telling that to Sherrone Moore. Sorry. I'm going to call him Senator Moore.